Let's talk about the learning techniques that are right for you. In addition to talking about techniques, we'll also review the content that requires memorization, and especially we're going to learn how to perform the brain dump. The first decision that you have to make is whether to study on your own or to join a study group. If you can design a detailed study plan and you have the self-discipline to keep to your schedule, you may prefer to study on your own. This gives you the most flexibility and the most individualized approach. On the other hand, if you think that you need more support and structure, a study group could be the way to go. All the team members need to agree on the schedule and the agenda to make it a productive learning experience. If you have coworkers who are also preparing for the PMP, then that makes a natural study group. And you can do that either on-site or as a virtual team. Most PMI chapters also offer study groups. Check their website to find the local chapter and the schedule for the study groups. Keep in mind that you have to be a PMI member and a chapter member in order to take advantage of their study groups. You might also find virtual or online PMP study groups. These vary in quality, and you need to do some homework to decide if a particular group is right for you. Time management is an important part of your exam preparation. When you have long blocks of time, at least an hour or more, this is a good time for in-depth study of an entire process group, or knowledge area. If you're studying for more than an hour, be sure to take breaks to keep your mind fresh and alert. If you only have a short period of time, say 15 minutes, you can use that for memorization or focusing on a single topic. This could include the inputs, tools, and techniques or outputs for a particular process. Create a study schedule, stick to the schedule, and keep track of your progress. I recommend setting up the schedule using Microsoft Excel, and there you can check off when you comply with your study schedule, what your scores are for your various tests, and you can then review any trends that will help you to revise your study plan and give more emphasis to areas of need. As a baseline for how much time to spend studying each process group, think about the percentages for each process group on the examination content outline. Most of all, be realistic regarding the schedule. You might say that you have an entire weekend to study, but you have to factor out the time for your regular activities, your home life, your work, exercise, social activities, also holidays and vacations. Oh, and don't forget to get some sleep. Much of the material on the PMP exam requires memorization. You can't avoid it. You have to memorize. These are the things you need to memorize. The process map with all the process groups and knowledge areas, and where the individual processes, all 49 of them, where they fit in on that map. You'll also have to memorize all of the formulas, especially the earned value management formulas. You don't need to completely memorize all the ITTOs for all the processes, but you should know the key unique ITTOs for each process. And you need to be able to define important concepts. The best way to memorize is repetition. Just keep doing it over and over again. Writing helps to imprint the information more strongly in your brain. Keep quizzing yourself until the information just comes naturally. And this includes practicing the brain dump. More on that in a minute. If you like mnemonics, these are different tricks to memorize information. So if you like them, use them. If you go online, you'll find many different PMP related mnemonics. Another way to memorize is to use visualization, storytelling, and mind palaces. This creates a context that is unique to your own experience and imagination, and you can use that to fix the facts in your brain. You can also use flashcards and similar kinds of tools. What is the brain dump? The brain dump is the most important information that you have to memorize. You should be able to write down this information on two sides of a single sheet of paper. One side, you will reproduce the process group and knowledge area map. On the other side, you will write down all of the formulas, especially the earned value management formulas. So keep practicing it, and repetition will help improve the memorization. The goal is to be able to replicate or dump all this information in under 15 minutes. You use the brain dump at the very beginning of the exam. So at the very start of the 4-hour exam period, do the brain dump. Do it before you even look at any of the questions. You want your mind to be clear and focused, and you want to have all of this information downloaded from your brain onto the scratch paper before you start answering any questions. Then this information will be your reference during the exam. You will receive scratch paper from the Prometric Test Center. And we strongly recommend that you do this brain dump. It will pay off in your results. The PMP exam depends on not only the information in the PMBOK, but also the experience and context that you bring to this information. That is what is meant by integration. In addition, integration describes the relationships between the different processes. If you think about these relationships, it will reinforce your understanding and help you answer questions. What is the logical sequence of processes? What are parallels between the processes? Which ITTOs recur? Which ITTOs are unique to a particular process? In addition, in the PMBOK, look at the data flow diagrams for all the processes. This will show all of the interactions between the processes and their inputs and outputs. To get a deeper understanding of tools and techniques, practice using them. For example, try drawing a WBS. It's especially important to practice drawing schedule diagrams and using the critical path method. You will definitely have exam questions where you need to perform those diagramming techniques and calculations. You'll also have to know the calculations for the earned value management, so do lots of exercises for those quantitative kinds of questions. And then also look at and draw tools such as a RACI chart, a power influence grid, or a SWOT analysis. Tailoring means adapting the learning techniques and information to your individual strengths and weaknesses. So you want to match your natural learning style to the exam material. That means build on your strengths and compensate for your weaknesses. You want to be able to improve areas of weakness. If you have challenges doing the calculations, spend more time practicing earned value management. I recommend that you keep track of your scores on practice tests, look for your progress, study trends, and update your study plan to compensate for the areas where you need improvement. You'll also need to update your calendar and study schedule, not only to spend more time on material as needed, but also to adjust for any other schedule conflicts. And then try to create exercises for yourself that are based on your natural thought process. If you're a visual thinker, use drawings and diagrams to outline the information. If you're more logical, write out rules, discuss patterns, practice formulas. If you're more of a verbal thinker, practice explaining the information on the PMP to other people. See if you can get the message across. The general study process should involve these items. Review the manual for this course 2 or 3 times. Review the PMBOK 2 or 3 times. Now that does not mean reading it through straight. It's not a textbook. It's a standard. You should use it as a reference and read only short sections. This will help deepen your understanding, and in particular, look at the data flow diagrams. If you can understand the data flow diagrams, you understand the process. Look at the vocabulary in the PMBOK glossary or the PMI lexicon of project management terms. Not only do you need to know the meaning and use of different vocabulary, but you also have to be able to recognize fake terminology, which sometimes pops up in the exam. If you find topics especially challenging, go back and keep studying them until you're comfortable. Everything in the PMBOK is potential subject matter for the exam, and everything is important, but some things are a little more important. In the process groups, pay more attention to planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling. In the knowledge areas, concentrate on integration, schedule, cost, quality, risk, and stakeholders. In this presentation, we talked about learning techniques, memorization, and the brain dump.